all AI needs is the data. Okay? Then they can say, okay, we're paying too much on food stamps again. Or maybe that person doesn't qualify for Medicaid. I don't know. I know in each case, both of those individuals also get Medicaid because they have almost no taxable income. So as far as Medicaid is concerned, they're below 133% of federal poverty line, which is the cutoff in Kentucky. In Florida, it's 100% because they don't participate in Medicaid expansion of Obamacare. So it's there. So when I'm kind of sidetracked. If I'm NVIDIA and I want to consider buying Palantir Technologies, I'm not going to rely on just the published financial statements, okay? I'm going to actually hire an investment banking company, Goldman Sachs, Morgan Stanley, what have you, and they're going to actually do a due diligence for me. They're going to go through all the nooks and crannies of their books. Obviously, these guys are not charities. They're going to charge me something for it. Whether or not I decide to go ahead with the acquisition. That part that is not recoverable is the sunk cost. So that's not relevant for the decision. We're going to also talk about opportunity costs. So let's tag this as red. It's going to tell me what an opportunity cost is.
Ethan? You give up choosing a different option. Choose one option, you're giving up making money, you're doing something, another option.
Yeah, it's the cost of your second best option. I always use that concept when I talk about time value of the money, and I ask this rhetorical question to students. I lend you $100 and I guarantee you that there's not going to be any inflation, and I'm good for it. And would you be okay if I paid you back $100 in 5 years? That's a rhetorical question. The answer should be no. But why is it no? I'm guaranteeing no inflation. I am guaranteeing, there's no default risk. Would you give the U.S. government $100 only to recover $100 in 5 years? Again, the answer is no. But, there are for some religions, there are religious reasons to be against interest. But when I give you that $100, that U.S. government, I'm giving up something. I could invest that money somewhere else. Whether or not I'm going to end up making money on that investment, that's besides the question. If I decide to put that money into the stock market, I may be a fool, but I expect to make money. Nobody would invest into something where they know they're not going to make money. Okay? So I have an expectation that I will make money. That's an opportunity cost for me. I give up that expected profit. That's why I need to charge you interest. That's the philosophical basis or economic basis for interest. Certain religions are against it. That's their business. I'm one of those guys. I wouldn't be part of any religion that would have me. I have nothing with religions. I have problems typically with religious people. Without people, religions would be just fine. When people get involved, all sorts of weird stuff happen. Like suicide bombers or crusades. They're different forms of religious violence. So if part of the project involves opportunity costs, they should be relevant. Example, I'm thinking about a project where if I decide to go ahead with the project, I'm going to need a piece of land. Okay? Suppose project needs a piece of land and the firm already owns a vacant lot suitable for a project. So if I go ahead with the project and use that land, would that cost firm anything? Would that cost to the firm anything? Firm would not need to pay any cash for the project to use that land. So should I consider that land as relevant or not to the project? Or should I take that cost to be zero? Yes or no? I'm hearing some head nods for zero.
It's relevant, right? It's relevant.
It's relevant, but what should be the cost?
Opportunity cost should be something else with it, right?
What do you think the opportunity cost should be?
Whatever the next best option was.
And typically your next best option is what you could get at it at the market. Okay? Market value of that land is the opportunity cost. Because that's the cost. Because if nothing, I could sell that in the market, right? If that land can get $10 million in the market, as soon as the firm gives that land to the project to be used, selling it in the market is not an option anymore. So there is a cost in terms of opportunity that's given up to the firm. Hence, that cost is relevant. If the land would be returned back to the firm at the end when the project is done, you're going to reverse that charge, but I'm going to charge the project, even though it's a project for the firm, I'm going to charge that project $10 million if the value of the land is $10 million. This relevancy is due to what we call standalone principle. We consider investment projects on their own, okay? Separate from the firm. If this project was a project that started from scratch, had nothing to do with the firm, it still would have needed the land, right? And it would have spent $10 million on that land. So just because the project is part of the firm should not change whether or not the project is acceptable. If I attach zero cost to that, it's obviously more likely to be acceptable. But if I don't, if I attach 10 million, it's less likely to be acceptable. So that creates a difference between projects that are part of the firm or a project that uses a firm land versus a project that doesn't use the firm land. But why should that make a difference? At the end of the day, project is about a product. That product is either good, profitable, or not. That decision should not depend upon whether we use a land that's already owned by the firm or not. Oddly enough, a lot of corporations ignore that principle and make bad decisions. But you should always think of it, the project should be able to survive on its own without benefiting from the assets the firm already has, right? Let me stop here, but that project will also help us decide what to do with things like financing costs, but we'll get there. On Wednesday, we're going to continue with it. We'll think about some things like side effects, especially cannibalism. And we're gonna figure out how to come up with those, with the cash flows. I'll see you guys on Wednesday.